Hey everyone, this is Steve from GamersNexus.net, and today we're looking at Silverstone's HTPC case, the SUGO SG08. We first found this case when one of our regular builders on the forums built his own HTPC, and have since decided to use it in our upcoming series of miniature gaming PC build articles, which will talk to you about how to build these computers and why they are so awesome for home theaters. The case is relatively large for an HTPC case. That is awesome to say, by the way, but not intrusively large. It measures at roughly 9 inches wide by 7 inches long by 14 inches deep. It is compact but deep, so you'll need a long shelf to accommodate the box. However, that depth does not come without purpose. The case will allow video cards of up to 12.2 inches in length, which should be enough for just about every current-gen card, with the exception of maybe a few manufacturers' takes on certain high-end AMD cards. So check manufacturer specs to make sure yours will fit. Do factor in where the power cables are for those cards, I will note, because if it is on the outside, the right side of the card, you may need to factor in that extra half inch or so that your cable will take. A quick overview of the specs reveals that the case is equipped with a single semi-massive fan on the top. It is 180 millimeters and runs at either 700 or 1200 RPM, which will run at 18 or 34 decibels respectively. This means that the case is able to keep cool while still running relatively quietly, although the faster RPM settings can be unbearably loud in a true quote-unquote living room PC environment where you want it to be quiet so you can hear the TV. I found that the low RPM setting was capable of a CFM that was more than acceptable for the abuse put on the system, even from games. So I think you'll be just fine at 700 RPM because it is a larger fan. That means it is a larger hole, so it can push more air through there at slower speeds than, say, a 120 fan would be able to. Sticking with the specs overview, the SG08 ships with a 600 watt PSU that is, I believe, bronze certified, 80 plus bronze, and it is far more than almost all the other HTPC cases out there as far as included PSUs, so that is quite large. 600 watts is more than enough to power a true gaming system, not just a home theater box. It is also equipped to handle just about any CPU you can throw at it, not just APUs and low TDP CPUs and IGPs and stuff like that. The system ships with a fan filter as well to place between your GPU and side panel, and because dust is generally an issue with HTPCs due to their increased likelihood of ending up in a corner or sat upon by cats, it is a good addition to have, in my opinion. The case's overall build quality is fantastic, I must say. It has a very sleek external presence, and the front panel is actually 10mm thick brushed aluminum, making for an executive-like aesthetic. The grills are well placed and fairly discreet, while still being accessible for parts that need them, like the CPU and GPU. And of course, the PSU has its own grills that correspond to its fans. The SG08 is nothing flashy, that's for sure, but it does follow a sleek and styled approach and knows exactly what it wants to be. Like I said, executive comes to mind. That is definitely the word of the day for this case, rather than the transformer appearance that we see in most modern gaming cases. Unfortunately, the second thing you'll notice is the amount of work required to disassemble the case so that you can actually start building. With no toolless screws pre-installed, you'll need to remove 3 screws to the cover, 3 screws in the top fan to access the motherboard, 4 screws in the optical drive bay, and 2 screws in the drive cage. It is not terrible, but truth be told, if you spend $200 on a case, even if it includes a PSU, you'd expect to get something a bit easier to work with. Now, once you've actually accessed the interior, you will find that the quality is equal to that of the outside. The drive cage has a rubberized screw holders, or rubberized walls really, to reduce vibration and noise, and there are pre-installed standoffs for the motherboard that make installation much easier, a little bit quicker I guess, and it ensures that you don't screw up by forgetting to install those standoffs, which could of course cause a direct short in your motherboard. The case is relatively open to work with once it's all taken apart. I found that regular SATA cables didn't mesh that well with the small distance between the drive, the SSD, and the side panel of the case. So it is my recommendation that you get some right angle SATA connectors before ordering this case, or as you order this case, because otherwise you will simply not be able to fit them, or you will experience issues with them disconnecting unintentionally as you move the case around. On that same note, there aren't that many places to hide cables, somewhat expectedly, so you'll have to be creative in your management of them. There are a few places to tether cables, get some twist ties and tether them. Go follow our cable management guide for more on that. If you have a larger GPU installed, that'll make things much harder to move around, so also factor that in if you're planning to install a big GPU like a 570 or 670 or something like that. Again, though this case is relatively open compared to its competitors, it is comparatively significantly easier to build with than many other cases of its caliber. But $200 is a lot of money for a case and a power supply, and it is a nice power supply, so it can be justifiable. But keep in mind, this is not just for a home theater PC. This is for a gaming PC that will be used for more than just your living room, in my opinion. Now, if you have a lot of money and can afford it for a home theater PC, more power to you. But personally, I would definitely use this case for a true quote-unquote gaming PC that you either want to be very discreet, very immobile, or really just quiet and kind of out of the way, which I guess is what discreet means. I want to highlight one more time that I think the case's build quality is fantastic. I had a pretty good time building with the case. It was actually not too difficult. It was just a little bit annoying, all those inconveniences, but really what are you going to do? It is a good quality case, a good quality PSU for $200, which is not too unreasonable to ask, considering you could easily spend $80 on a PSU and then $100 on a case if you were building a normal system. So with that, take all of these minor complaints in mind, and if you need a case that is more fitting to your budget, like less than $100 or something, please post on the comments of either this video or preferably our review where I will see it, and we will help you with that. That's really all there is to this case. It's fairly straightforward. It's small-ish, medium-sized, really. Can fit just about anywhere and can fit just about any gaming build as long as you have a mini ITX or DTX form factor motherboard. It ships with a reliable and nice power supply, and I feel like it'd be best to recommend this case to those who are planning on building full-on gaming PCs, especially if you want to do LAN parties or something like that. You'll find the full review of this case in the description below. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.